It's summertime, but for most athletes, the living ain't so easy. The Rio Olympics are fast approaching. Exciting times for more than 10,000 athletes around the world who are putting in their final preparations before they have the privilege to represent their discipline on sport's greatest stage. It is a dream come true for all athletes. Well, for most, because once again this year, there is a group who won't be at the Olympics.
Squash is played in, I think it's 185 countries throughout the world. 5 continents have produced world champions. So that in itself is a good reason for squash to be in the Olympics, because it's played so globally. It's a fantastic sport. I mean, I've been playing squash for over 30 years now, and it's a fantastic sport. It's extremely hard on the body. It's exciting to watch. It's very fast. If you don't know anything about squash, you could watch it and still kind of understand it. And I just don't understand why it's still not in the Olympics.
Oh, it's brilliant. Oh my, I don't believe it! I don't believe it! That is a joke!
Well, squash has all of the hallmarks that the Olympic Games is about. Certainly integrity, the achievement of a sport, it being the physical aspect of it, but also it would be the ultimate achievement for a squash player to have an Olympic medal.
The International Olympic Committee looks at a number of sports, and of course the key element is that the sport be practiced in many countries, that has a wide geographical spread, and I think squash does indeed have that. Then of course the host city, the city that's hosting the Olympic Games, plays a part in the selection as well, or has on this occasion with respect to Tokyo, as to how popular the sport is in their country.
We've done so much in squash there used to be arguments that it's not easy to be televised, but I mean now we have all glass courts, you can see in from every angle of the court. There's a white squash ball which is easier to pick up on the TV screens. We've changed the score in to make it quicker, because some people used to say that it's too long, so we made change the score in a few years back to make it faster.
Television does play a very important role in the selection, especially of new sports. The popularity of the sport and the revenue it can generate, primarily through television, is important.
Oh! Thanks for coming.
We're very close for Rio and golf, which has now been virtually boycotted by all of the top male golfers.
I'm very happy with the decision that I've made, and I have no regrets about it, and I'll probably watch the Olympics, but I'm not sure golf will be one of the events I'll watch.
We have forgotten what the Olympic spirit is, which is to celebrate athletes all over the world. When I search the spirit of Olympics is to compete and win or lose, to compete in a exceptional manner, and if Rory doesn't play, that's okay, because all the other golfers that are going to be competing are going to be competing as hard as they can.
Golf has just come back into the Olympics this year for 2016, and I was reading some how many players are dropping out but blaming the Zika virus. However, when you read a little bit more, people like Adam Scott basically is saying that it's just not important to us. We'd rather win a Masters or a British Open or a US Open. An Olympic gold medal isn't really that important to us.
There are some sports, not to name any names, quite honestly, that are in the Olympics that the Olympic medal is not the ultimate achievement.
They like the idea of the Olympics, but when it comes down to it, the majors are much more important. And unfortunately it's a money-orientated sport as well, so they don't earn any money for going to the Olympics. And I think Zach Johnson really did sum it up, and I wish that they would all come out and say that's the real reason that they're not going, instead of using another excuse.
And sometimes it's mind-boggling when they will accept or include a sport like modern triathlon, which is played probably or participated in 50 countries, and is a very expensive sport. But of course, Modern triathlon was also the sport of the founder of the Olympic movement, Pierre Coubertin. So that could be a reason why it remains on the Olympic program.
For me, it was just heartbreaking because I knew that was the last chance that I could have possibly competed. This time when we lost out in the bid in 2020, it was just, you know, it's silly. Like that's the best way to put it.
We lost out again for 2020. We were shortlisted for 2020, and the sports they chose were. I think they were down to maybe 7 or 8 sports, and they picked karate, skateboarding, sports climbing, surfing, and then softball or baseball, which were actually taken out of the Olympics in 2016.
I am actually surprised that Tokyo has a whole slew of new sports, like 4 new sports, and squash is not one.
It deserves to be an Olympic sport because of those things.
The golfers should come together and say, you know, squash deserves to be in because they train just as hard as us, and that kind of camaraderie. I think I don't like what's happening now where it's kind of, you know, one sport is fighting against the other. I just think that's not what we want.
I would happily trade all my 6 world titles for an Olympic gold medal.
What will playing at the Olympic Games mean to me? Everything.
I really don't know what the next steps are for those people, you know, that are in charge of trying to get squash into the Olympics, because they've tried the last 3, they've been shortlisted for the last 2, maybe the last 3, but certainly the last 2, and they just always lose out at the last minute to these, you know, other sports.
Spare a thought for the athletes who've dedicated their lives to a sport, who won't in their lifetime have the chance to compete for amateur sport's biggest prize.